This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
Okay, so this is my out-of-body experience, virtual reality experience, somewhat lucid dream, to the Maury Povich and Jerry Springer Auditorium. Now, I did kind of have, let's see, well, I was watching, I know I did kind of have, those shows on the brain prior to this. Not necessarily Maury Povich or Jerry Springer, or, well, maybe I did, but I had been watching, I think I had them on the brain maybe, I don't know, a few months ago, but not like really previous to this. Not too soon previous to this experience. But I did, I was watching, what was that called? Not divorce court, paternity court. So anyway, the aliens they delved into my brain and picked Maury Povich and Jerry Springer. But yeah, I think watching that paternity court or whatever, I don't watch it very often or whatever. It kind of made the aliens go into my brain and pick this Maury Povich and Jerry Springer Auditorium theme or whatever. But yeah, so basically I basically walked in, pretend like that's north, so I walked in from the north door over here, south, into, the big entryway, and there were some tables there. And so I sat down at the tables, and it was like I was getting ready to meet some people. Well, actually, there was one or two women sitting there, and then there was supposed to be a couple more that showed up, and I was about to show them how to make necklaces. And this experience, it was probably like a B experience, and haven't had an A+ one in a long time, or A- one, or A, but yeah, okay, so, and then, okay, and by the way, it seemed like it was about 3 p.m. when I was sitting there waiting for some more women, because I was going to show them how to make necklaces. And I have made necklaces before, but not in a long time. And like I say, I think I did have I did have Jerry Springer on the brain, several months ago or whatever. But anyway, I think somehow me watching Paternity Court, that triggered the aliens to create this scenario. But they just happened to pick Maury Povich and Jerry Springer Auditorium. And this whole virtual reality scenario. And okay, so basically, Jerry Springer and Maury Povich, they were just sharing it, 50-50. So 50% of the time, Maury Povich would have a show, and the other 50% of the time, Jerry Springer would have a show. And yeah, the aliens are very creative. See, I put right there. They both shared it 50-50. And I think sometimes I know a reptilian would have created this, and the Greys may create it as well together. But I know the one reptilian at least created it because they put that handicap. They do funny things, funny kind of mean things in the scenarios. And they put handicap type of stuff before, and escalator type of stuff before my scenarios. So, yeah, so anyway, so it was about to, I was about to show some women. I was sitting there. It's pretty bright. It's pretty bright in the big auditorium right there. And, okay, so then, okay, let me see. Okay, and so then I started, so after, I don't actually remember, I didn't actually sit there for a long time and show them how to make necklaces, but after I sat there for quite a while, I started walking more, okay, so if that's north, I started walking more south this way, and then I turned to walk down into the auditorium, and it was freaking huge. And it was just like this, by the way. Just like this, except it was huge. Probably a little bigger. And, it's like same direction and everything in my scenario. Okay, so I walked towards the auditorium. And now, at that time, I guess for whatever reason, I just wanted to observe to see what the stadium, the auditorium looked like. And it was completely dead. No people yet. And so I was, and matter of fact, I'm trying to think if I remember the color. I think, as far as I remember, I think it really could have been red, but I'm not positive. And so then, for some reason, I just wanted to observe. So then, when I turned back around, I walked. Okay, but at that time, it seemed like it was more like 7 o'clock. And, okay, hold on, let me see. Let me make sure I'm saying everything. Yeah, so basically the show hadn't started yet, but I felt like it was around 7 o'clock. Okay, so then when I turned back around to go back up towards the table and chairs, which was near the front door, entrance, exit, like I said, I came into that entrance. Okay, then all of a sudden millions of people started walking towards the auditorium straight at me. Just billions of people just started walking and crowding me and everything. And I was just walking, trying to dodge. Because I was getting nervous because I am kind of claustrophobic, especially being around billions of people like that. So that's a picture right there of the crowd of people. And the reason the aliens did that was because I went to this fucking German festival. What a fucking nightmare. I went to this German festival in Austin, Texas. No, not Austin, Texas. An hour down the street. I forgot what town it was. An hour down the street. We went to this German festival, and people just went there just to get smashed. And even the very last night, it closed about, I think they were going to close about 10. And we walked out, and it was 9 o'clock. And there was still a line of 5 freaking miles of people. And already there were just, sardines. You were packed in there like sardines. Now, we showed up at 6, we showed up about 5:30 p.m. And it was in October, and it was actually cool. It was nice and cool and autumn. That night, it was beginning of October or end of October. And then at the end of the night, well, that's when I started, that's when this flare-up of my pituitary gland fucked up. Well, actually, I started having low blood sugar problems since the age of 27. And I didn't know I had a pituitary tumor. But I was on a health kick and wasn't eating very much, and then all I drank was like 12, I don't know, maybe 15 ounces of beer, at about 7 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock, I almost fucking passed the fuck out because my sugar dropped really, really, really low. And, it literally physically dropped. I mean, now I still have all these low blood sugar symptoms, like it's dropping real low, but it's not dropping real low. Because I'm not fucking taking drugs, I'm not putting any chemicals in my body, I'm not drinking liquor to make it physically go low. But I still got to eat 3 times a day, otherwise I still have all the symptoms, like it's going real low, but it doesn't physically go low. Because I'm eating right. Yeah, it's not very good fucking problem to have. And, so yeah, I guess maybe going out of body all the time and having all these fucking lucid dreams, living in all these other realities, which I never thought of it like that. Yeah, it probably fucked up my pituitary gland. I never thought of it like that. It probably did, I never thought of it like that, but oh well. But I just eat and I can't eat a lot of sugar. That makes me dizzy as fuck, and makes me hypoglycemic too if I eat a lot of sugar. That's why I try not to eat a lot of sugar. But I eat a little bit. So anyway, I almost freaking passed the fuck out at 9 o'clock. I almost dropped to the floor because it physically got low. Because like I said, at 7 o'clock, I was already on an empty stomach, and then I drank beer. This was in 2009. Or shit, I don't know. Could have been 2000. No, it wasn't. It was I don't know. It was either 2008 or 2009. I think it could have been 2009. Yeah, maybe it was 2009. Okay. So in 2009, so anyway, it's like so much easier being a fucking diabetic than a hypoglycemic. I mean, diabetic is just their sugar's 300s all the time, like whoop-dee. It never fucking goes low, it just stays high all the time. You're not dizzy all the time, I mean, I'd rather be a diabetic any fucking day. Okay, so anyway, so I almost passed out when I was standing there, because, by that time the lines were 50 fucking miles long to get a fucking hot dog on a stick, whatever the hell it was called. So, I know Brenda kept saying, you better go get something early. First of all, I know it's got to be illegal to cram that many people, because that was not open land. You were blocked in there. You were trapped in there. There were fences and whatever all around. That had to have been illegal to stuff 50 million fucking people. I mean, when it's confined like that, there has to be a limit. What's it called? Population limit or whatever. I forgot what it's called. And by the time we walked out of the park, so to speak, it wasn't a park, it was just a German festival, and it was small, it wasn't real, big, area. And so by the time we walked out, like 9:30, like I say, the park closed at like 10 or 11, and there was still millions of people wanting to come in and get their booze or whatever. And so, I just fucking can't. I'll never go to anything like that ever fucking again. I can't. Well, I could stand crowds of people even before that. So that's why the aliens put that in there. So all these millions of freaking people started coming at me, and I was like dodging them, dodging, to get the fuck away from them, get the fuck out. Okay, so so then I get all worked up. Okay, so then, but when I was in the car with Brenda and the guy, we took this old man that I worked with. And I think Brenda was driving, or maybe he was driving and Brenda was passenger, but I was in the back seat, I think. And I was talking all drunk, and Brenda was like, why are you talking all drunk and shit? I wonder how low it dropped. I don't know. Low for me would be, to have hardcore symptoms. If mine physically dropped into low 80s, I would be having major symptoms. But mine stays 100 all the time, 100 to 105. Mine never really drops below 100 and never goes above 105. But if I don't eat, I still have all the symptoms. I have slurred speech. I have all the freaking ass symptoms. And no fucking doctor knows about my condition unless there's some expert somewhere. Well, actually, it all falls under adrenal fatigue. Well, I'm not fucking fatigued. You know what I'm saying? I got the other end of it. But anyway, yeah, I had to learn that. It all falls under adrenal fatigue. And any kind of adrenal fatigue, the mainstream medical system, they're trained to be tuned off about all of that. Because all they go by numbers. You know, if they see my blood sugar, they'll be like, there's no way you could be having all these symptoms. It's showing your blood sugar's a fucking, 100. It's like, well, you dumb motherfucker, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know me. You don't know what the fuck I'm having. Because, I mean, if I'm having all these symptoms, I'm having all these symptoms. It don't matter what the fucking numbers say, which it doesn't. And a lot of people are in my same situation. They're just not having low blood sugar problems. They're having major chronic fatigue all the time because their adrenal glands are fucked up. I know my adrenal glands aren't fucked up. It's my pituitary gland that, I have no fatigue problems at all. Okay, so, but I had to learn that it all falls under adrenal, fatigue. And like I said, you have to go to a natural doctor for that. And I know there's somebody out there that probably have met other people like me with a specific pituitary problem, not fucking adrenal problem or whatever the fuck. But I already know what I can do to help myself. Eating a lot of red meat makes me feel so freaking good because it's nothing but pure protein. And I know I can never be a fucking fruitarian or whatever. I've been listening to that John Rose, but I'm totally turned off because I can't resonate with that. You know what I'm saying? But I am gonna still try to eat me lots of salads, and I have been eating more fruits and shit, which I don't really like fruits, but I mean, I can still eat really, really healthy. Still eat red meat occasionally, but I mainly eat beans and stuff like that. But what makes me feel ultimate best is to eat 2 hamburgers, just maybe a little cheese or maybe nothing with salt and pepper. Because that's the best for fucking low blood sugar problems. You can't sit there and eat fucking fruit all day with my kind of condition, you know what I'm saying? You're just gonna get more dizzy and shit. Okay, so anyway, all of a sudden there were okay, yeah, so I was dodging all these motherfuckers. Okay, so finally, so I, walked out of this direction, walked towards the exit entryway, and then I was about to walk out then I started walking out the door after I started dodging all the people. And like I say, I knew the show was about to start, and I knew it was around 7 p.m. And yeah, the aliens kind of like to piss me off because they know I don't like crowds. But I didn't feel necessarily too panicky or anything like that. I mean, I know they have the ability to make you feel extreme stuff, but they don't really do that to me too much. Like they could have probably made me feel extremely, panicky and stuff. But I mean, I was getting like maybe a little nervous when I was like trying to dodge all these people, trying to get away from him. And then, of course, as I got up to the entryway where the tables were, where I was about to show those women how to make necklaces, it was all dead up there. Just, maybe 2 or 3 people, that's it. So then I got away from all the people and I walked out the door. Okay, so this is the funny part. I wrote all this down because I didn't know if I was going to forget a bunch of stuff if I didn't write it down, so I wrote because a lot of times, these kind of lucid dreams, if I wait too long, even though I still probably remember 80%, I don't even talk about them because, I don't know. I mean, because I have like a lot. And I mean, I have like a lot. And if they're like a B or, B minus experience, it's best for me to hurry up and write a bunch of the details down. Because then if many weeks goes by, I'll forget some of the little details. Like I may forget about the turtle situation or whatever. Or maybe not forget about the turtle, but forget about the fact that the turtle kind of jumped out of the little ditch. Little details like that. Some experiences I never forget any details millions of years later. But, okay, so basically, okay, hold on, let me read this. Okay, so anyway, as I walked out the door, It was 7 p.m. and I went outside the amphitheater. Then all of a sudden there were handicap accessible stairs that would have killed any handicapped person. So basically so you start, walking along a flat platform, and then all of a sudden there was like stairs, but it was kind of like a little escalator of stairs, but it went straight down. It was a straight drop. 7 feet. And I did actually, I was like, whoa, I was kind of scared, but I did actually kind of just slide down, and I didn't hurt myself. Anyway, so at first it was just flat concrete, then boom, all of a sudden there was an escalator of stairs that went straight down, about a 7-foot drop. And so that part was kind of funny. Okay, so then I started walking out to the asphalt. And over to my left, there was a ditch. There was kind of like a ditch, semi-grass, semi-asphalt. And the turtle, a normal box turtle, was facing this direction. And it kind of jumped out of the ditch. And I walked over to it, and I even touched it and petted it. Yeah, and at that time, there was a couple people with me. And it seemed like, I can't remember who they were, but it seemed like at that point, my sister was with me. But I could be wrong. But there was a couple people with me as I walked, because I was walking to my car, even though I never actually got to my car. But the turtle, so jumped, the ditch and everything was over this way. The parking lot was out, out this way. And so the turtle, what did I do? Let's see here. Yeah, so anyway, it was like semi-mud, semi-grassy, semi-asphalt. Okay, yeah, so then I went over, when the turtle jumped out of the crevice, the ditch, I went over there and I actually touched him. And I remember its little face and everything. And so I was just kind of like, should I keep him? And I said that to the two people that were with me. I was like, should I keep him? And I knew I couldn't keep him because I knew I already had too many turtles. So, they put so many freaking turtles. Like one time they gave me this quick lucid dream. I was up there at TJ Maxx. And the grassy area in front of that whole shopping center. Right there in the little grassy area, there was a cute little box turtle, and I would go up to it. This was under lucid dream. I'd go up to it, and man, I remember their faces and everything. And they would have such personalities. It's so funny what the aliens could do. And I already talked about that one. I can't remember what it was titled, but I already talked about that one out-of-body experience lucid dream where two turtles, I think one of them was Luna, one of them was, I can't remember, but it was 2 or 3 turtles that I already had at the time, several years ago. I didn't have all my turtles I have now, but I had several years ago, and it was like Luna and Miss Herpeton, and I think one other one, and Ortego, I think. But they were all talking and shit in my scenario. And that one, I was at where was I at? Like a Lowe's with a food court or something like that. I can't remember what I titled that experience, but it was so cool. So yeah, so they actually made the turtle talk. Not in this scenario, that other scenario, they made the 2 turtles, 2 or 3 of them talk. It was so cool. And they were like, I'm gonna go play. It was really cool. But yeah, so that was basically the end of that experience. Oh, that didn't take very long to talk about. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Out of the ditch. But yeah, the funny part was that handicap accessible stairs, which, that would have killed anybody, or even somebody that wasn't handicapped. But, oh yeah, and they copied that from my brain too, because they were going off a long time ago when I drove the shuttle buses, and this handicapped person just rolled off and then just bam, fell like a 3.5, I don't know, maybe, no, it wasn't 4 feet, but it was probably 2.5 foot drop. I don't know what he had, MS or whatever, and he just bam. Well, because it was just a strange, strange situation. Like when I got on the shuttle bus, you know, you put the handicapped person on there, and well, anyway, it would have happened anyway. It would have happened anyway, because whether he was strapped down or not, it would have happened anyway, because I would have already undid the straps. You know, because I would have undid the straps, and then you go outside, and then you press the little lever. Well, the lever, for some reason, it didn't stop right there. It kept going, and he thought it was already good to roll out, and he came rolling out, and he freaking fell. And some college students helped me, you know, get him up and turn him over and everything. I mean, he was fine, but you know, to turn him over and stuff. But this little MS guy or whatever, and I've seen him millions of times on campus. And so I know the aliens kind of copied that, but that drop in the scenario. But he was just like, I was like, "Are you fine? Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." But anyway, yeah, you're supposed to strap them down in the shuttle bus, but nobody ever really does. And you're supposed to like tie them down. But the thing is, once you make your stop, you go and untie them anyway before you go out the door. And then you go press the little lever, and the little platform thing, for some reason, this stupid fucking thing kept going all the way down, and he thought it was already level, and he came rolling out and did like a 2.5-foot drop to the freaking ground. But he was fine. That job was a freaking nightmare. I mean, like, I was 25, that was 20-something years ago, and I thought it sounded like a fun job. It was in the paper to drive the shuttle buses, and it was a freaking nightmare. I mean, I thought it would be so fun, and it was a total nightmare. Okay, so, and I never did any big runs to like Branson or Kansas City or St. Louis or anything like that. I don't think they knew, you know, I don't think they would have trusted me anyway. But I did do some short runs in those big old Caterpillar shuttle buses around town, just a few. It was just still a freaking nightmare. Okay, but, okay, yeah, I've been having lots of lucid dreams lately. I had a really cool one to Golden Corral again, so that was kind of fun. And where I was eating the food and tasting the food and everything, so that was kind of fun. But the other one I had, I'll mention that real quick, was there was a tortoise. No, this was an actual tortoise that was about, you know, pretty large, but not real big, like 8 inches. No, probably 10. No, this tortoise was about 9 inches long. You know, 7, 8 inches wide. You know, it was pretty big, but not one of the real big ones. And it was walking around the carpet. Not in this house. I was in a strange house, and I was sitting there observing this tortoise. And it had, well, actually, under this experience, I was like, wow, that's a 6-legged tortoise. You know, it had, you know, 1 leg there, and then 2 legs in the middle, and 1 leg there. Well, that would only equal 4. That would equal 4 legs. But in my scenario, I was like, you know, talking out loud or whatever, I was like, wow, that's a 6-legged tortoise. But then after I woke up and everything, I was like, that math doesn't add up. That would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be an 8-legged tortoise. You know, because there's a leg right there, 2 legs in the middle, and a leg right there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an 8-legged tortoise. But in my scenario, for some reason, I thought it was a 6-legged tortoise, even though there was really only 1, 2, 4 on one side. You know, 2 right there in the middle. So that was kind of cool. But the other scenario I had was, oh my God, just walking around hours and hours at Mom and Jean's, and I hadn't even been there in a long, long time. Mom and Jean's over there on Republic Road. This is under Lucid Dream. Just walking around all the way up to the store, all the way to the back of the store. And then I walked up, you know, to the area where all the coconut water was, and I was sitting there looking at all the coconut water and seeing what coconut water I was gonna buy. And I also interacted with several of the workers, and there was about 5 or 6 people that were just kind of walking around with me. And but the funny part was that, you know, I had been kind of obsessed with coconuts, and let's see, and so I had been kind of obsessed with coconuts, and so after I walked from this end of the store all the way to the, you know, other end of the store, I started walking back. In the middle of the store, I looked to my right, and I saw the big young green coconuts, and this was so real. It was so real, like it was in my experience. It was so like real. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes they're like so real, and you know, you don't really realize you're under a lucid dream or whatever at the time, you know, until you like wake up or whatever. But it was so real. These coconuts, because I want these coconuts so bad. I want to get some of those young green ones, but you got to order them online. You can't buy any like that around here. So yeah, so they did have some young green coconuts, and then they had some of the hairy coconuts as well, and they all were like, oh yeah, the white, the white. They had those white ones that's wrapped, and they do have some of those on Amazon. I may try those because I think those are semi-young, but not old, like the old brown hairy ones. And but I was mainly interested in those white ones, and especially the green young ones. But the funny thing was, for whatever reason, I don't know why the aliens did this, but each coconut, I mean, to pick up the coconut, they were attached to like a broomstick. It was like a stick almost as long as a broomstick, or about as long as a broomstick. And so I was just picking them up like that and just kind of checking them out, like which one am I going to buy. That was kind of weird. I don't know what gave them that idea. Because most coconuts, you know, you just pick them up like that. They're like a ball. But for whatever reason, they were wrapped like really freshly. They were like wrapped like in light, thin wax paper or something. But I knew they all were just like super fresh. Because a lot of times, the old hairy coconuts you see in the stores, a lot of them are bad. And you can tell if they're moldy. Well, sometimes they're still bad and you can't really tell. But yeah, a lot of them that I've seen at Walmart are moldy. Some of the ones at Price Cutter were moldy. But in my scenario, man, it was just so real. And they all were like so fresh. But yeah, but I've been having lots of cool lucid dreams. But yeah, I don't know where Joel is. I need to have some experiences by him. But that one where I was sitting there at Golden Corral, like I wasn't like gonna eat anything because I wasn't about to pay, you know, $20 and not eat anything. And I was sitting there like with my mom, my sister, and several other people. It looked different than the one in real life. But anyway, I was in like Golden Corral, and so finally I actually got one little plate of, I think it was potatoes. Yeah, and I started eating the potatoes, and they tasted kind of bitter. And I remember thinking, like, oh, now, you know, I'm going to have to pay $20 just for eating this little bitty plate of potatoes, you know, because I hadn't planned on eating anything. And I guess, I don't know, I guess my family convinced me to finally eat something. But anyway, but yeah, the aliens, they go off whatever your thoughts are and stuff. And I mean, I'm probably not going to ever eat there again. I mean, if I meet somebody there, I just won't eat, you know, but in the scenario. So the aliens know all that, and then they just put all this in my scenario. But anyway, they were all fun. Man, this morning, I didn't have shit this morning. But it's kind of funny, because I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but any kind of dream, which I don't really have dreams, all of mine are pretty much lucid dreams. And even if I don't really care to remember it or whatever, right when you're about to go to bed, bam, it automatically just all comes like back to you. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but you just start remembering everything, or you just start feeling like, or you just start remembering and thinking about the previous night's or previous morning's dream right before you go to bed. I don't know why, but it's really weird. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. But yeah, with me, it's always like that. Like, it's weird. You know, like all the thoughts of the previous dream right before I go to bed the next night, I'll start, you know, I'll totally think about the whole thing, and it all comes back to me or whatever, even if I did have kind of forgotten about it during the day or whatever. But yeah, it's really weird. So thanks for listening.